Hey everyone, it's Rich Warner from Consumer Math Personal Finance class. Today we're going to complete the last few questions from the end of Chapter 4, questions 11 through 15, that have to deal with markup and percentage formulas, but working in the other direction. So you'll be given the current sale price of a particular good or product, and the idea is to use the markup formula, discount formula, working backwards to get the original prices. Now, these types of questions sometimes spook students, but it's actually not too bad if you follow the steps and just remember that we have to just move things around the equation a little bit, and you should do fine. Okay, so let's start out with question 12, for example. And I'm going to change the numbers a little bit so you could work these problems yourself, but the concept is the same and the steps that you'll follow will be identical. Okay, so question 12. The sale price on a DVD is, let's call it $4.75, and it's 50% off. What was the original price? And once again, we should draw a diagram or a schematic to help us understand the problems. It's really very helpful when it comes to these things. Okay, so we have a DVD that's on sale, let's say for $4.75, and it's 50% off. And the question is, what was the original price? Now, some of you may be quick to realize that 50% off is simply half of some number here. So whatever number here is, cut it in half, and you should get this number right here, which suggests that all we need to do is multiply this by 2, and we should get our answer. And that's indeed correct. So if we use our calculator, we take 475, multiply by 2, and you get 950. So in that case, the original price of this DVD was $9.50. But let's say you didn't know that all you had to do was multiply the new price by 2 to get the old price. Let's say you weren't aware of that and you wanted to use the discount formula in this case, but working backwards. Okay, so let's erase this and this, and let's apply the discount formula. Okay, remember the discount formula says that the new price is equal to the old price times 1 minus the percent discount. So we have the new price. The new price is $4.75. And we're looking for the old price. Okay? And we should multiply that by 1 minus the discount of 50%. And then once again, we just crunch out the numbers here. We work out the parentheses first. 1 minus 50% is 1 minus 0.5, which is the same thing as 0.5, right? Makes sense. 1 minus 0.5 is 0.5. Multiply that by some old number, some original price, and that's equal to $4.75. Okay, at this point, we have to solve for this number. And the way we should go about this is to actually isolate the question mark, this number right here. We have to get this all alone on one side of the equation. So we're going to divide both sides of the equation here, 475 divided by this, and we're going to divide this side of the equation by 0.5 as well. So watch what happens when we do that. We're going to divide this side of the equation by 0.5, and what we do to one side of the equation, we have to do the other side. So let's divide this side of the equation by 0.5 as well. And we end up with this scenario. Now, once you get something over something, you can cancel it out. Okay, this becomes 1. Anything over anything is 1. So when you multiply something by 1, it's just itself, which is ideal. That's what we want. We want to isolate this number here, this question mark. So we end up with this scenario. 4.75 divided by 0.5 is equal to question mark. because this part right here canceled out. That's just 1. So we can just get rid of it, and we're left with this divided by this is question mark. Okay? So the final step is to simply divide this by this, and that'll give us our original price. So 4.75 divided by 0.5 equals 9.5. Equals $9.50, which is exactly what we got by multiplying this by 2, if you recall, the same number. All right? It's the steps that are important. It's not so much the numbers themselves, it's the procedure. Once you get the hang of it, once you get the procedure down, you should be able to work backwards in your sleep. Okay, now let's try question 11, which says that the sale price on a cell phone is $125 and it's 45% off. What was the original price? Okay, so question 11, it's for sale, remember? So this is a discount of 45%, and we're dropping to, I'm going to make this $150. You have $125, but I'm changing that to $150. So you can work out question 11 for yourself. And the question is, what was the original price? Remember, this is the sale price, otherwise known as the new price. And this is the old price, the original price. Now, if you recognize this setup, you'll probably notice that this is the discount formula at work. Okay, so let's just set up the discount formula as follows. We know that the discount formula says that the new price should equal the old price multiplied by 1 minus the percentage discount. Okay, let's plug in the numbers. Do we know what the new price is? Yes, it's $150. Do we know what the old price is? No, we're looking for that. We're going to solve for that. Multiply that by 1 minus the percentage discount, which is 45%. Close paren. And now all we have to do is crunch the numbers. Let's work the parentheses first. 1 minus 45% is 1 minus 0.45. And 1 minus 0.45, if you use your calculator, that's easy enough. That's 0.55. Multiply that by question mark, and that should equal, in this case, $150. Now, once again, we have to work to isolate this number right there, this question mark, this particular value. Once we've isolated this alone on one side of the equation, we've solved the problem. So to do that, if you recall, we have to get rid of this part here on this side. But what we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. So let's divide this side of the equation by 0.55. All right. And then let's divide this side of the equation by 0.55. Now, if you recall, when you divide something by something, that cancels out to be the number 1, and anything times 1 is anything. Okay? So that's the same thing as getting rid of this part here that we don't need. And so we're left with 150 over 0.55 is equal to question mark. Now this is great because all we have to do now, our final step, is simply to divide 150 by 0.55 and we get our original price. Okay, so let's divide 150 divided by 0.55 and we get $272.73. We actually get 272.72 repeating, which means that we have a fragment of a cent here, which we have to bump up to the next penny. So this becomes 272.73. Okay, which means that the original price of this cell phone was $272.73. Now let's move on to markup situations where we're given the current sale price of a product that's been marked up, and we need to work backwards to find the original price. Another way of looking at it is we have a marked up price and we need to find what the cost basis is of this particular product. Okay, so let's take question 14 as an example. The markup on a Tiffany clock is 40% to $380. I'm going to change that $380 to $400. What was the original price? Okay, so we have a clock that's been marked up to $400, and it's been marked up by 40%, and we need to find what the original price was. So old to new. Or you can look at this as being the cost basis. How much did it cost for this particular retailer to purchase the Tiffany clock to begin with? And the sale price is now $400. This is the markup formula, but all we have to do this time is work our way backwards to find the original price. So let's write out the markup formula again. The new price is equal to the old price multiplied by 1 plus the percentage markup. Okay, do we know what the new price is? Yes, it's $400, and that's equal to the old price, but we don't know what that is, so we'll put a question mark here for now. Multiply that by 1 plus the percentage markup, which is 40%. Next, we have to do some number crunching. So remember, we work the parentheses first. 1 plus 40% is 1 plus 0.4, which is the same thing as 1.40 multiplied by question mark, and that should equal $400. So once again, we're presented with this question mark, this valuation that we're trying to solve for. And in order to solve for it, we need to isolate it on one side of the equation here. In other words, we have to get rid of this term right here. So let's divide both sides by this term, 1.4, and what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. So let's divide this side by 1.4, and let's divide this side by 1.4. At this point, these terms cancel each other out, and we're left with 400 divided by 1.4 is equal to question mark. Okay, so let's use our calculators to divide 400 by 1.4, and we get 285.71428, which is 285.1478 and some other stuff behind that. So once again, we have to round up because we have a fragment of a cent here. Let's bump it up to 15 cents. So our final answer becomes $285.15. $285.15. And that is the cost basis of this Tiffany lamp. So in other words, the retailer, the manager of the store, was able to buy Tiffany lamps at $285.15 from a particular source where he can get them really cheap. And then he can raise prices by 40% to more than cover his cost and make a profit, the sale price being $400 for a Tiffany lamp. Okay, our final problem for chapter 4 is question 15. If the markup on Nike sneaker is 35% to $165, what was the original price? Okay, I'm going to change that $165 to $175, let's say. So Nike sneaker, we don't know what the old price was, and it's been marked up by 35%. And I'm going to say the new price is $175. You've got $165 here on the sheet, but I'm going to work with $175. The steps are identical, however. Okay, so once again, this is a markup formula, but we're working backwards to find the old price from the new price. Once again, the markup formula says that the new price is equal to the old price multiplied by 1 plus the markup percent, close parentheses. Let's plug in some numbers. Do we know the new price? Yes, we do. $175 equals. Do we know the old price? No, we don't. Not yet. Let's multiply that by 1 plus the percentage markup, which is 35%. Okay. Next, we have to work out what's in the parentheses. So 1 plus 35% is the same thing as 1 plus 0.35, which is 1.35. Multiply that by question mark, and that should equal $175, the new price of the Nike sneaker. Okay, so remember the next step we have to do is to isolate the question mark. And the way we do that, once again, is by dividing both sides, in this case by 1.35. What we do to one side of the equation, we have to do to the other. So divide this side by 135, divide this side by 135. Remember, anything over anything is just 1, which means we can cancel this part out here, and we're left with 175 over 1.35 equal to question mark. So we whip out our handy dandy calculators and we key in 175 divided by 1.35, and we get 129.629 blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's $129.629 blah, 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 which means we have a fragment of a cent here. We have to bump this up to the next penny, which is 63 cents. So our final answer is $129.63. And that is the original price, or the cost price, of these Nike sneakers. $129.63 a pair. That's our cost price. We want to make a 35% profit on that, so we have to charge $175 for a pair of sneakers. So as you can see, it's really not all that bad. All you have to do is remember to draw the diagram or the schematic to help you understand the problem. Once you've done that, you've got about 80% of the problem solved. Next is just a matter of plugging in the numbers given and then crunching the numbers and working backwards if necessary. Applying either the markup percentage formula, the discount formula, or if you're given an old and a new number, use the percentage change formula. And lastly, remember that the future value formula only comes into play when you're given a growth rate that is recurring on a periodic basis and you're projecting a number into the future after T periods. And that's it for the end of Chapter 4 problems. If you have any further questions, contact me via the comments below this video or send me an email via the class website. This is Rich Warner again for Consumer Math, Personal Finance, author of the textbook Personal Finance for Progressive Thinkers. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.